Mark,
Oh, hey, Paul.
what are you reading?
I'm actually searching through all these superheroes' dreams to see if I can find the Dreamstone for Dr. Destiny before Insomnia gets it.
Really? Really?
No luck so
That,
far.
that sounds like something we want to talk about. And you know what? We'll do that right after this. So, welcome to another edition of the DC Comics Deep Dive. I am Paul. He is Mark. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload this new content. And make sure you leave a comment, either in the live or if you're watching it on the rewind, make sure you leave a comment because we are going to be doing a giveaway at the end of Night Terrors where we will be giving away the entire Night Terrors saga, including the series proper as well as all of the two-issue miniseries. So, and we'll be jumping into one of the videos that we do to pick a comment from somewhere in there. So, all that good stuff. Make sure you do all that stuff before we go any further. But we are now into the Night Terrors.
Week one of the 2-month event DC Comics is putting on here. It's a condensed event, but it's not lackluster. All the numbers of titles that you'd expect to be in an event are here and present. As you can see, we have 6 books to talk about today in week number 1 alone.
Correct. We are going to start and probably spend most of our time with the Night Terrors First Blood. This is really kind of the kickoff to the entire series. Yes, that is the neon cover is very good. That actually will be in our giveaway as well. Someone will receive that as well. And I believe they're doing a neon cover for each of the series proper. So for one
Yeah, the
through
main
four,
title, not the
as well
cover.
as exactly
Yeah, I want to
right.
be. I think I'm going to be picking
Um,
one up for each issue as well. They're just cool.
mm,
They like, I'll
mm,
grab one. I'll grab one. Why not? Why not?
yeah, yeah. So, so this issue starts with a person named John, basically on a beach, with sorry, in a picnic, with his girlfriend, that starts to go very wrong by page two. Um,
Yeah, she just
it
starts
basically be
dissolving and spewing stuff everywhere, and he clearly just sees he's in a nightmare. She's just decaying around him, and the monstrous children running up to him. It was a terrifying way to start a series.
Correct. And then we find out that the John is, in fact, John D or Dr. Destiny. And then we automatically, by the time we get to page four, we're into that preview that we saw at the back of all of the comics from last week,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
basically he is into the Hall of Justice, and he's been brought there by someone we don't know exactly who, but he's working his way through the Hall of Justice, and he is attacked by someone we don't know exactly who it is yet, who is supposedly looking for the Nightmare Stone, which I'm assuming is the compatriot to the Dreamstone, which is what Dr. D or Dr. Destiny is known for.
Yeah, they kind
Um,
of added a MacGuffin right to the beginning of the series here. So he quickly realizes he's in a dream, which is his shtick. So somebody
right,
is kind of overpowering him in his own game here. And he announces right at the beginning of this, "Where's the
correct.
Nightmare Stone?" Which apparently this is the first introduction of the Nightmare Stone, which is the equal opposite of to the Dream Stone, which he's known for, like you said. And I think it's kind of important to point out where he was very confident in his ability of mastering this situation, and quickly that confidence fades away as soon as he sees the eyes of his attackers. Like, what's wrong with your eyes? And that kind of gets mentioned again later. They don't tell us the importance of it yet, but it is a reoccurring thing. Something about this character's eyes, this insomnia.
Right. Because you don't know exactly the identity of Insomnia, whether he's someone brand new. We'll get to that, but we don't know whether he's brand new or whether he's, someone that we've known before who now has, who is now affecting everybody now. But we then immediately jump to one of the characters who will be present throughout the entire Night Terrors, and that's Deadman. We've
Our
been told that
narrator.
Deadman is going to. is going to play an important part. Correct. So he's the narrator, and he is basically jumping around through. We get a very quick recap of his origin and everything. But then he basically is going around, looking for different people. He sees different people that have died. He talks about, people who have lived to be 101, and he talks about how one of the worst things that can happen to people is to have nobody show up to your funeral, those type of things. So he's talking about obviously, what it means to be dead, and then he suddenly comes across Superman.
Yeah, he's being called. He feels this pull,
Hmm.
this calling
Hmm.
to these people. So he goes and checks on it. The first one was Superman. And again, it's
Right.
kind of a character introduction, a classic standard comic book character introduction via Deadman. You see Superman performing great feats, saving people, and Deadman recognizing this isn't who I was pulled to. And he moves on to the next person, who's Wonder Woman.
Correct. Who
Same
he
situation.
Exactly same situation, and he talks about the fact that he had just been with her not too long ago. That's part of the Infinite Frontier, and
She was dead.
everything else. That
Yeah.
correct.
She got better.
Um, exactly. She got better. That's right. She got way better.
Way better,
Um,
yeah.
right. And they actually then are called. Both Superman and Wonder Woman end up going to where, but the Hall of Justice.
That's where the ultimate source of whatever was pulling the Deadman was. And when they show up, one person is already there ahead of them.
Correct. Of course, and that is Batman. Uh,
Now, I do want to say it. Maybe now's the time to point out the art in this book. So, I've had some people that I've talked to already message me about the art, and I'll tell you now, I really really like the art in here. This art is not classic, fine line, bold outline kind of artwork. It's very
mhm.
sketchy. It's very erratic. It's chaotic. And it's one of those moments for me, much like Department of Truth or Deceased is, where the artwork is not just clear and crisp, but it plays heavily to the tone of the story. And it does for me in this one.
Right,
But I can
and
see
it
some
is it
mistakes.
is it is also it is not like your classic Howard Porter that you would have found on like the Grant Morrison JLA Howard Porter either. But I think a large part of that is because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that he had a pretty bad accident that happened to his arm, his drawing arm, and so really his work does not really look too much like it did in the past, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
pretty impressive that he's still churning this out. And what like a I don't know that can be really spun as to a like a positive thing to have like two definitive eras in your work where like you're still
Hmm.
able to churn it out and rock and roll with it, but now it's just a completely different style.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so the three of them, basically, there is apparently an alarm for a very special part of the Hall of Justice that only goes to the three of them that Batman has set up because he feels as though there are things that only the three of them would be able to deal with. Batman is famous for making up all these rules, and so this happens to be one of them. And so they step into this particular part of the Hall of Justice that only the three of them have access to. And what do they find? But they find John D or Dr. Destiny apparently dead. Um, yeah, he looks pretty dead there.
Horrific, horrifically dead. This is one of those panels where I was first sold on the artwork. I'm like, okay, it
Hmm.
works.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, yep. And so they realize that it's him, but no sooner do they find him there that they then get a call from Harley Quinn, who says, "Hey, by the way, I just want to let you know there's something going on at Arkham. We have John D here." And Batman's like, "What? We have John D here." So now there's apparently, are there two John Ds or what's going on? But the John D in Arkham is having some sort of a seizure or a fit or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, like a massive anxiety fear attack. And the craziest thing is that he's not even awake.
Right.
So again, another time that artwork really just sold the moment for me.
Hmm. And so, no sooner does that happen than the John D in the Hall of Justice, sorry, that dead man then jumps into Batman. to kind of help them and say, hey, look, you know what? I don't know if these things are related or whatever, but it is not magic. Whatever it is, I've been feeling it too. It has something to do with, and he talks about. And he kind of, in some way, roundabout references Neil Gaiman's Dream and everything because he says that Dream and Death are like brother and sister, which they are obviously as part of the dreaming.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's whatever it is, it's not magic, but it's something twisting up and something doing everything with the dream world, and it's extremely dangerous. And somehow, although I've never seen this before, Batman is able to expel Deadman from himself.
Yeah. He made a couple of comments saying, "I've told you never to do that," and he actually grabs his own mouth and
Mhm.
expels. He forces him out. That's how finely trained Batman has his mind, which kind of calls back to like what we've been seeing in the pages of Batman with the whole Zur-En-Arrh stuff, where
Mhm.
you've seen how much extensive training he has done with his mind. But he's not a fan of Deadman being in there.
Right. Correct. And so then they all start to fly off to figure out what's going on. And as soon as they fly off, we see the one page that I know Mark was extremely happy to see, and that is we find out that Amanda Waller is still watching everything from the shadows.
Yeah. On top of that, she sends somebody to do something as well.
Hmm.
She said, "Something wicked comes this way. Shine a light on whatever they're up to for me, will you?" And the character says, "Read you loud and clear, Waller. It will be so bright." And this, if you read Lazarus Planet, this is a character that we saw inside of the pages of the Lazarus Planet where they first gave us our first Waller T since Dark Crisis. So,
Hmm.
what was it? Deadeye?
Hmm.
They
Yep.
called the character. I think it was Deadeye, which is an important character to Waller. And this is a juiced up version of Deadeye as well.
Right.
But this isn't the only dangerous character sent by Waller we'll see this week.
Correct. So we then have people. John D is actually telling everyone, "Do not fall asleep. Do not fall asleep." And then something kind of out of the Waller, I'm sorry, out of the John D in Arkham Asylum comes flying out of alien type thing comes flying out of John D. And before you know it, people are starting to fall asleep all over the world.
Yeah, and
Um,
his body's just ravaged by the event. Whatever explodes out of him, this nightmare essence, leaves his body is just a disgusting corpse. Pretty much after that, just
yeah. So if he wasn't dead in the Hall of Justice, it seems like he's pretty dead at Arkham Asylum. So. Um,
yeah, he's doing all kinds of weird stuff. Then his body gets animated by this energy, this entity, and it's very like John Carpenter-ish this moment. He's on the ceiling, he's talking trash to the heroes. Batman spikes him in the forehead with a battering ring, and he still just continues to talk trash and then just dissolves and drips to the ground. And then all these creatures start popping up. It's a total chaotic action sequence. And while it's happening, it looks like some reserves have been called in. Some help in a situation like this have been called into the Hall of Justice, where Wonder Woman still is, because Zatanna and Detective Chimp from Justice League Dark show up. You know what I'm saying? This event's getting decent. You know what I'm saying? It's an event. Let's
It's
go.
ticking all your boxes, Mark.
Let's go. So they show up, and right off the rip, it looks like the energy overtakes Zatanna, overtakes
Mhm.
Detective Chimp, and Wonder Woman falls asleep. Detective Chimp falls asleep. Zatanna, which, man, I absolutely hate reading Zatanna dialogue. We get it. We get it. For her to do her spell, she has to say words backwards. Put an asterisk on it. Put it at the bottom of the page. It says spoken backwards. Don't make us actually read it backwards. But she says no sleep. Something you two like. She tries to keep herself awake. It doesn't work. And in the meantime, we see the explosion of dream fuel. This nightmare fuel just cascade across the DCU and start hitting all the heroes and villains worldwide, taking over the entire world.
You forgot to say so Zatanna is saying all of these spells backwards, and then when they don't doesn't work, she even takes the time to say the word crap backwards. Um, but yeah, so then we have this thing going on, and we see Nightwing, we see Joker, we see what looks like Alan Scott, we see Ravager, we see Black Adam. All of them are now apparently affected by this sleep. Um, and we go back to Batman, who is still fighting, trying to stay awake and everything. And yeah, well, go ahead.
He pushes the bat symbol on his chest that fills him with adrenaline. He's pushing through. He's getting all tough and happy with himself, and he's telling this dream creature that's controlling Dr. D's body, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to sleep. I will not rest. I will not sleep like until you are. And then he looks down and he's young Bruce with his parents' blood all over his hands. Like he completely
Mm-hmm.
got overtaken despite fighting against it. And then we see that his body is laying on the ground, what looks to be awake and just covered with this nightmare energy where it's too powerful. It doesn't matter if you're awake or asleep, it's going to get into your dream.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this point, little nightmare arachnid creature looking things start coming in, and they're about to get on Batman. So Boston Brand takes the opportunity to hop right back into Batman's body, and he jumps up and starts biting the creatures and spitting them out and fighting them. And so basically now we have Deadman piloting Batman's awake yet asleep body and trying to keep him alive while the nightmares are still coming. And in that moment, we get the big reveal on the final page, the first look at Insomnia proper, because he was teased, he was shown in the Free Comic Book Day, but we get to see the full body shot of what's going to be our big enemy during this event. And there he is. So now we get to see he does have some weird eyes. He's got some kind of something on his chest, which I'm not sure if that'll play a part in his abilities or powers, but just ravaged clothes, not really a suit design or anything, kind of just barefoot wolf looking feet or something. He's got wolf feet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I was just trying to size up the character to see what we might be able to learn or figure out just from his design or anything, but no telling.
Okay. So we see Insomnia, right? His eyes are very important. So I'm thinking to myself, who else has eyes? Who else's eyes are extremely important in the DC universe?
Psycho Pirate, but it's all a mask.
No,
Eyes.
I'm thinking who has, and why is Ravager a part of this?
Deathstroke?
And who in the Deathstroke world has eyes that are extremely important?
Not her dad.
No, Jericho.
Oh, snap. You think it might
I know
be
that's
Jericho?
a leap. I know that's a leap, but Jericho, he needs the eyes for contact, right, in order to jump into people, right? He's Ravager's brother or half brother or whatever, you know. I don't know, just
And this is a Joshua
huge,
Williams thing who's
huge leap.
shown a lot of love toward that whole Wilson family. And Jericho
Yeah.
is dead, isn't he?
I think so. Again,
I
I'm
feel
probably
like we need a
totally
dead
wrong.
character. Yeah,
But
maybe
I
they
could
would
be totally
recognize
wrong.
him. Maybe they wouldn't recognize him in this current state. I don't know. That would be cool. Stuff's kind of, I don't know. The stuff has the potential to be really good when you do callbacks and stuff like that. So that would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
anyway,
first issue impressions. I thought it was solid.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really hoping, you know, for the people who don't want to invest in all the different tie-ins and everything, I'm really hoping that, although we get the one page on Batman, really that kind of does carry over into his tie-in. You know, you don't need to read that in order to understand, you know, to enjoy it. And I'm hoping that continues. That, you know, for people who just want to pick up the 6 issues, the 4 issues, and the 2 bookends, that, you know, they'll get the entire story there. So
yeah, and there was a little backup story, right, in that with Robin.
in Batman, yes, yep.
Yeah, we
There
see
was a
that
couple of stories, and
yeah, there's a Damien quest. We see him going to Nanda Parbat, if I'm not mistaken, to a dream master that his grandfather visited ages ago because he's wanting to master his dreams, and the nightmare befalls on where they're at while he's there, and he pretty much gets cast into the dream world while there. But it was just kind of implying that Damien is sharp-minded and is questing to get ahead of the curve kind of thing. But he ends up going into his dream as well. It was only a few pages.
Right. Okay, so we'll do some quick hits then, and quick synopsis. But Batman, what do you think?
Solid, very important to the main story. That's why I think this one was so good. We actually deal with Batman diving into his nightmares. He recognizes right off the bat the situation that he's in, and we also get to see a lot of content with him interacting with Insomnia back and forth. We learned that Insomnia is jaded against heroes. He's coming for the Dreamstone. We know that Dr. Destiny is hidden in some superhero's dream somewhere. So he's searching all the heroes and villains' nightmares to try to find it. And Batman is retreating farther and farther into his own psyche to get away from to get away from Insomnia and to find a way out of this. And while doing so, the biggest threat that he's facing is himself. There's some crazy visuals in here. There's like a bat emerging out of his own body with a gun for a head and all kinds of really cool stuff like that. This one is super solid read to the main story. Like if you're looking for a good extra read to get some more context, check out Batman.
Right, absolutely. Black Adam.
Black Adam I liked a lot because I said this going into this. If you're already a fan of the character, if you're already reading their titles, pick up the books because, I mean, they take the place of the monthly anyways. In this one, Black Adam gets thrown into his dream, as all these characters will, and he recognizes right offhand that something's not right. He has shadow creatures, nightmare creatures to deal with, to fight with, that are attacking in his homeworld. So you get some cool action. You get to see his powers waning and flowing inside of this nightmare. As with any Shazam-related character, there is an animal companion that tries to help him along this journey. And it's just some massive cool fighting in this. Even a callback to some really cool stuff from the New 52, if you kept up with what he was doing in that time era with Isis and her brother, who's brutally, savagely murdered. He relives that moment in this book. So if you're a Black Adam fan, check this out.
Absolutely. We just mentioned her, Ravager.
I was shocked by this one. I thought it couldn't be more pointless if they tried, but this was actually fun. Formatted just like Black Adam, she's in a dream sequence, recognizes something's wrong, and she's seeing a little girl being attacked by shadow creatures. And she quickly realizes after saving her that it is a reflection of herself when she's younger. And these creatures attacking her are dark reflections of their family, of her father, and blah, blah, blah. And she's trying to fight her way through to get them safe and to figure out a way out of this, or even what's going on. All through these, you will see Easter eggs of Insomnia present where he's watching what's happening, looking for that Nightmare Stone. So that was a cool little moment in there. And then the realization that even these figures in her nightmare that she's there to help are not there to help her. So things go from bad to worse, and it leaves us ready for that second issue. Action-packed, felt like it was servicing the story. Not needed reading material like Black Adam, but definitely adds to the big event, getting you in the vibes.
Yes, liked it much more than I thought I was going to like it. The Joker.
First 6 pages are fantastic. The rest of it, throw it in the trash. This was absolutely terrible as a whole. The whole concept is Batman dies. Joker's left without anything to do in life, no nemesis. But the way that he does is so creative, hilarious. The first 6 to 8 pages are worth the price of admission alone, if I'm being honest. So the whole nightmare here is Joker decides on his own free will to go work a 9 to 5 because his life is so broken and incomplete, despite there being other things he could be doing, plenty of other things. And what really got me out of this is the repetitive nature of it. The book was telling no story. It had nothing to say, and we kept doing the same stupid format joke every 3 pages. And it became mundane and useless really quick for me. Hopefully the second issue will be better.
And this is spoiler, he goes to work for Wayne Enterprises.
Nice little touch there. But the big touch at the end of that is the twist is it gets announced on TV, Batman's back. He hadn't been seen for a while, and Joker's like, Batman's back? Who Batman? What Batman? Huh? Batman? And so there is a Batman back, which I'm going to go out on a limb here and say when he finally comes face to face with this other Batman, which he no doubtedly is going to go after, when the cowl comes down, it's going to be Joker.
Mm-hmm. And there's also Black Adam ends with Batman as well.
Yeah,
so Batman is all over the place, of course.
Everywhere.
So and then Poison Ivy.
Skip it.
This actually came out too.
It's so pointless. And I did listen to John.
If you like Poison Ivy again, if you're collecting Poison Ivy along the way.
Yeah, so John's Comics with Kids collects Poison Ivy. He read it. He said he enjoyed it. The book was stupid. It was absolutely dumb if you don't collect Poison Ivy, because he went into all this detail on stuff that he liked that I honestly don't. It's not telling that important story. I think that the book has this delusion of self grandeur that it's like being so clever when it's not. The whole concept is Poison Ivy wakes up in a Pleasantville scenario where everyone's happy go lucky, despite having boogers hanging out their nose and slobber coming out their mouth. She's happy just to say, oh, screw it. Let me just accept this nightmare just to make Harley happy, knowing full well it's not even Harley. So it's absolutely crazy. It doesn't make any sense at all. And then a human supporting cast character from HR, Karen from HR is there and is the one that recognizes what's going on and just running around. Like, the book was dumb. It was absolutely dumb. Made no sense. You missed the assignment there, Wilson, whoever Wilson is.
G. Willow Wilson.
G. Willow Wilson. You missed the assignment.
But that's it. Those are the 6 that came out last week. Now we have another 6 that come out this week. We have Night Terrors #1, and then we have another 5 that come out. But I think we get some Superman ones this week, and I'm actually looking forward because the Action Comics one, besides the fact that one of the stories is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, we are getting some more Riccardo Federici art inside. So I'm really looking forward
we know
to
he
that.
He can do terror.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully he does the main story and not the little backup. But
if I'm not mistaken, there were some good ones coming. We have the Shazam one. I pull Shazam, Flash, Green Lantern. So no Superman.
Cover for Green Lantern one. The Perillo cover is just incredible.
Yeah, so we have no Superman this week. It's Green Lantern, Robin, Shazam, Flash, and Zatanna are our tie-in issues. And then we get Night Terrors #1, the main with the Ivan Reis cover for the A cover. So the Blacklight variant will be a Blacklight variant of an Ivan Reis cover. So this is actually a solid week. There's only one title that wouldn't be on my pull list anyway. So hopefully that Zatanna one will slap. Yeah. Featuring Robot Man from the Doom Patrol as well.
Hopefully the whole book is not written backwards, though.
You just took it out my sails that quick. The wind is gone. It's gonna be. This is gonna be terrible. They got to do something about that.
Yeah, exactly. But that's going to be it. Again, strong start. We were kind of worried about it, going into it. With the exception of Poison Ivy, most of the stories, besides First Blood, most of the tie-ins were pretty solid. So that's a great start to it.
The whole Poison Ivy, that's just our opinion, man. You know what I mean? Like, read it for yourself.
Right,
like,
exactly.
If you like Poison Ivy, if you've been pulling Poison Ivy, you'll probably love it because it's probably on point with what you've been reading. But if you're just stepping in, just seeing what you need out of the event, you don't need it. It's not needed.
Right.
But if you want it, check it out.
There you go. What you do need to do is you do need to subscribe before you leave. You do need to hit the notification bell. You do need to comment because we will be giving away the entire Night Terrors saga at the end with another special live episode at the end of all this. We'll be talking more about that as we go along. And leave a comment because we will be going into one of these videos to pick a video and to pick a comment from that video. So you don't know which one we're going to do. So comment on all of them. And hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. But that's going to be it for today. I am Paul. He is Mark.
But we are Legion.
And we are now leaving Sector 2850.